Greetings from Las Vegas. Today is going to be a fun ride to put some miles on the on the Scrambler. We've done this ride on the Tiger before. Scrambler only has about 62 miles on it right now, and I need to get up to that 600 mark so I can take it in for its first service and get beyond this break-in period with the flashing, warning if you get anywhere close to 8,000 RPMs, that sort of thing. So I am going to start off today at the South Point Casino, one of our favorites here in town, gorgeous property. And we are going to head down on the Triumph Scrambler 400X to Sandy Valley. And there's a big loop. It's about 85 miles from here, from here down to Sandy Valley, up a dirt road that's about 16 miles. So I'll put a little bit of dirt on this thing, and then I'll take Highway 160 back across, which we'll end up right around this area when it's all finished. So come along for the ride, and I'm just going to try and shut up and ride for a good part of this and enjoy putting some miles on this guy and shoot for that 600 in the next week or two. I know I could probably do it all today, but I just don't know if I have that in me this weekend. It's a windy day today, but we're gonna stay on smaller roads most of the time, lower speeds. Well, there's a nice view of the M Resort and its second tower. It's the first time I've seen it from this angle with this much progress. That's looking pretty cool. I always like to point this place out. We got Bumblebee out front, super cool. Speed Vegas. Come here and drive a supercar on a small track, or a pretty decent sized track. Oh, there's one going right there. A couple of them. Just looks like, I don't know if it's Corvettes or what, but this is just south of the Las Vegas Strip right here. Come on down to Speed Vegas and drive your dream car around a track. Or if you want the drifting experience, you climb into one of these vehicles with an expert driver and they will take you around the track and scare the poop out of you. It's kind of the goal. Almost like when you're riding with a fighter jet pilot and they start doing some of those tricks that make you lose your lunch. Right. A short break for a glamour shot. Why not? This is a... Ooh, why is that so blurry? Cute little spot. There we go. And I tell you, it's a chilly day today. It's only in the mid to high 50s right now, and it is. I'm thankful I wore my mid layers, but probably should have put on that wind shirt also. Oh well. Off we go. change here at the Pioneer Saloon. Let's jump back on the bike and hit it. Alright, fire this rascal up and head on out. Always paranoid about pockets. Yep, they're good. So this is just a quarter mile off of the Sandy Valley turn, speed limit 55 at this point. We're going to be turning pretty quick. And then I've done this, recorded this same trip on the Tiger a while back, and it is very pretty. This canyon we go through, or this ridge line, whatever you want to call it, I guess it's a ridge line. And a little too quick on the corner there. I'm still getting used to this thing. Braking is not quite the same as they are on the Tiger. So we're going to zoom up through that, over this ridge line, and then shoot back down.
Rolling tires on winding trails, mountain air and canyon sails. The sun dips low, the shadows lean, desert town in golden sheen. We're cruising down that ridgeline high, underneath the painted sky. Sandy Valley waits below, the desert heart where secrets flow. Rocky cliffs and one swept stone, carving paths we're not alone. The radio hums a quiet tune, whispering tales beneath the moon. We're cruising down that ridgeline high, underneath the painted sky. Sandy Valley waits below, desert heart where secrets flow. Cactus arms reach toward the stars, dreams of freedom stretch afar. The town glows soft, its lights awake, quiet promise it won't forsake. We're cruising down that ridgeline high, underneath the painted sky. Sandy Valley waits below, desert heart where secrets flow.
Ah. All right, have to stop for a quick glamour shot here. This is really pretty. Wow. I mean, come on. There we go. It's pretty windy. Whew. Got to find a rock to put under my kickstand. Oh, and that wind is a little chilly. And what do you get with chilly wind? You get some sniffles. Come on. Oop. Get me around here. There we go. And off we go. Woohoo!
Cactus arms reach toward the stars. Dreams of freedom stretch afar. Town glows soft, its lights awake. Quiet promise to forsake. We're cruising down that ridgeline high. Underneath the painted sky. Sandy Valley waits below. Desert heart where secrets flow. Desert heart where secrets flow.
And then there's the actual town of Sandy Valley. And we are about a half mile from the famous Idle Spurs Tavern. Another great place to sit down and have a cold one in this remote location. It's also a nice spot for glamour shot, but I think I'm going to skip it this time. Idle Spurs. All right, and then I need to reset the map. This is our turn. There's the Dollar Tree / Family Dollar, and I need to reset the map to. I know where I'm going. It's nice to have it visible on the screen. So punch it in for heading up towards Highway 160. So we'll do that real quick. All right. Boy, I gotta find a better angle from my remote. So here we are, hitting, I don't know, they're calling this Inca Street. It's Sandy Valley Road becomes Triumph Road, something like that. Oh, this is bumpy. Washboard a little bit. So this will take us all the way up to Nevada Highway 160. Oh, you know what? I was also going to, let me do that now, just because I haven't done it before and I regretted it last time. Let me do this, if we can see it. Put it in neutral. Put it in off-road mode. Traction control. Come on. Okay, off. And off-road, hold it down. On. So now we're in off-road mode with traction control off. Cool. I guess that means whatever. ABS and traction control is off now, so we should be able to ride it like a sort of like a dirt bike on a dirt road. Felt like it a little. All right, so this is going to be 16 miles of this, staring at a dirt road going in a mostly well-groomed road that is just fine for cars and stuff. I tell you what, this thing is somewhat confidence-inspiring. It's approachable. The bike is not intimidating. And we're cruising along 50 miles, 45, 50 on a dirt road. It's no big deal, man. It's actually fun on this off-road mode with traction control and ABS turned off. Very nice to be able to just pop right into that. Oh, this is a little... I spoke too soon. This is that really heavy gravel they probably just laid down recently to do some grading. This is, like I say, a very well-maintained dirt road here for a lot of car traffic for people going between Pahrump and Sandy Valley. Yeah, so this is quite good. Take the next right. Okay, so to stay on Sandy Valley. Oh, that was Sandy. Oh, Sandy. And now this is, okay, this is Pahrump Road here. All right, so I got it all twisted around, whatever. So another 10 miles on this, and then we hit, ooh, this is pretty washed out again. And then we hit Highway 160. So, you know what time it is. Ooh. It's time to go again. Can you hear that? Yeah, me neither. Just silence. Nothing out here. Perfect day. It's so beautiful out here. Oh boy, I don't know what any of this stuff is. Maybe that's the backside of Mount Charleston. I'm pointing away from the camera. Maybe it's not, but it's peaceful and it's beautiful out here. There's the, some of these trails at some point will take me, I could also take these, and I'll have to come back and do this later, through what's called Potosi Pass. I've done that before on the actual, real dirt bike. I think it's mainly just a main road with some, dirt roads like this, 2 tracks, whatever you want to call them. Not too bad. I think this Scrambler can handle it. So I have not really had any concerns at all on this thing. I've been scrambling on all day. It's been great. So I think it's a nice spot here to do maybe a couple of glamour shots again with the put in the album. But yeah, this thing is holding up really well. Boy, those chatty birds out there are trying to ruin my silent moment, aren't they? And I am really digging it. No regrets whatsoever on this thing. We're basically on a, I don't know if you can see how far down that goes, but this is essentially a power line road here. This, the road, Pahrump Road, leading all the way up to 160. So, super peaceful out here. Nice to be out in the middle of nowhere on your own for a minute and get to stop and maybe water a cactus or two and hop back on the bike and head on up to Mountain Springs Saloon and maybe get a picture there as well, then head on back to South Point and wrap this up. So we're getting some slow miles, but miles nonetheless. And this thing is chewing it up. It's really a pleasure on this thing. So let's get back on the road. All right. Just have to be mindful of the pokey things that can put holes in your tires. So this is their home, not mine. Let's get back on the road. Thing is light enough that it's just no big deal to turn around. Head north on Sandy Valley Road. Better check for traffic. I hear this is a busy intersection. Yeah, looks like it's clear. Ugh. I'm out of practice. Whatever. Still having fun. Oof. Boy, I keep forgetting how bumpy this is. Alright, how far? About 5.5 miles. So this is practically a halfway point from once we turned on to the actual Triumph Road section of the dirt road. So let's bust out these next 5 miles and we'll do another check-in. Yeah, cruising along at 40, 45, 50. It's just not a problem, man. Triumph Scrambler 400X. Hell yeah. I'm having a good time. Ooh. Well, the little voice in my head just said, in a quarter mile, turn right onto Nevada 160 East. And there it is. Yeah. I think this little scrambler is going to be sad that we're leaving the dirt because it really seems to be happy there. This is the stuff I'm not crazy about. This is very much high-speed stuff here, so... Wait, why is my check engine light on? I'll pull over for a second and take this out of dirt mode. That's not good. Oh, this might be that thing I've read about where it just comes on sometimes and you turn the bike on and off and it goes away. But you know what? I am already out of... It's like when you turn the bike off, it goes back to normal. Traction control and off-road mode are already off. All right, let's try the reboot it trick. Let me roll a little bit and see what we get. Need to wait for traffic to clear though. Well, the light is... Oh, crash ahead. That's not good. The light is still on. Not happy about that. But I'm in the middle of nowhere, so... This must be the crash they were talking about. Get out of the... Give them some breathing room if that's what it is. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was bad. That looked like a fire. Well, with this, I think I may, instead of stopping at Mountain Springs Saloon, I may just limp all the way home. Hope everything goes all right. So we're only half a mile from the turnoff to Mountain Springs Saloon. There is the Mountain Springs sign for this area. Oh, that's right. We have to, it's a 45 zone here. Duh. And this is Williams Ranch Road, and then the world famous Mountain Springs Saloon is in there. Now, how gorgeous is this? Wow. Is that a natural formation straight up in front of us, or has that been carved intentionally? I don't know. Potosi Mountain Boy Scouts of America Camp, Potosi Pass. Right here on the right. I mentioned this earlier. Another great way to go down into Sandy Valley, and I'll have to try that at some point on the Scrambler. Dirt road goes past the Boy Scout camp and then just turns into 2 tracks basically that takes you back to that same road we were just on. So very nice. Plenty of pine trees. You're up in a higher elevation and it is just beautiful, and it's also a nice place, another one of these areas where it feels like you're escaping the heat just a little bit when it's really nasty in the Las Vegas summertime. Look at that. A desert flower surviving through the rocky terrain. This is a area we used to come quite often. This is a great jumping off point for some dirt roads and trails and power line roads. Take this all the way through, end up in Sandy Valley. And that's how we found the Pioneer Saloon originally. So it's a beautiful area, very technical in some of these spots. It's really challenging, so I don't think I'll be going on these with this bike. It's not really the tool for the job, but just thought I'd stop and do a little reminiscing and maybe a glamour shot or two, and then head on back home. All right, let's hit it. And that check engine light is still on. So they actually gave this road, this dirt road, a name. I think it's called, what does it say? Cottonwood Valley Road. Interesting. Alright, we will limp home on this with its check engine light, and I'll have to do some research and see what the heck is going on with that. Taking a little bit of a detour. These are some of the trails we used to ride on all the time. I'm gonna take Cactus. Now that Cactus goes all the way through here, that'll take me all the way through to Las Vegas Boulevard. And but right back in there, oh yeah, so many good trails. So this is different. It's having me turn left on Dean Martin Drive. So I thought, all right, why not? Normally when heading up to Silverado Ranch from Cactus, I take, oh, there's South Point right up there. Jones or Decatur, but all right, this seems like a not so bad option. Yeah, there's the backside of South Point, the equestrian center back there, where they have all kinds of cool stuff in there. NFR Rodeo has had events there. I don't know if that's still the go-to place or not, but it's a great place for it. We went in there one time. I don't even remember what it was. It was a long time ago with some friends, but great venue. Big old arena in there. And just a great property. A lot of good memories, good times there. But because of this strange check engine thing that has kind of spoiled the mood here, we're not going to stop at South Point to do the closing. I am going to do the closing back in the garage, in my garage, as the Weezer would say, and do a little research and see if this is just some simple reset. I could have sworn I saw somewhere with the Speed and the Scrambler where there was some kind of a firmware bug that was making the check engine light come on, even though there wasn't any reason for it. So let's go check that out and see what's up, and we'll come back and close up the video. So I guess this is going to have to be continued. Back in the garage. Bike made it here. It's not like it stranded me or anything. However, the damn check engine light is still on. And I spent some time in the internet. This is apparently not an unusual thing with this model. The Scrambler 400 and the Speed 400. Check engine light just likes to come on sometimes. And some people said, oh, you just have to do 3 cold hot cycles or something like that. Shut the bike off, turn it back on 3 times, the light clears. Another one said that the reason for that coming on can be triggered by if you turn on the key and you start the engine before all of the wizardry in the system finishes booting up in the ECU and all the controls in the speedometer, then that can trigger the check engine light. Then that's just another one of those, restart it so many times and it'll go away. Another person said, well, I just pulled the battery and mine went away, which doesn't really help matters any if you actually have a legitimate issue. That's just talking about clearing the codes and it'll potentially come back again. It sounds like there's a firmware issue though. It sounds like people are saying January, I don't know if they're talking January 2025 or January 2024 from the Indian release, but it sounds like there's a firmware release that'll supposedly resolve this. So I'm going to start it one more time and see if, let's see here, what happens with the still there. So I guess I get to call the dealer. I have now, about 155 miles or something, 160 miles, something like that on this thing. So I will post a follow-up on this to be continued.